I think we may have stumbled upon the point of the movie.
I think so. Indeed.
Is that aren't we all the villains in someone else's story?
Oh. I'd like to think not.
Yeah,
I would hope not.
I'd certainly hope not.
Welcome to Drafted. I'm your host, Daniel Prentice, and as always, I am joined by my dear, dear friend and tremendous co-host, Preston Thompson. Preston, how are you doing, my friend? And also, what are you drinking?
We're back.
We are back. Happy Halloween, folks.
It's been so long. It's the spooky season, of which we will soon find out I know nothing about and kind of hate, and I'm very excited for it to be over. I am drinking bourbon on the rocks. I'm working 3 jobs right now, so this is what I've replaced all my water intake with. It's just bourbon on the rocks. But no, the spooky season is not my season. One time, my wife and I went through a haunted house, and I was holding her arm so tight I nearly broke it. So she had legitimate bruising. It was a problem.
Jesus.
We talked about it. It's fine.
Like domestic abuse.
We don't go in haunted houses anymore. This is what happens. You learn, you make adjustments, you learn some more.
This is honestly very surprising to me. We've never talked about it, but I've been in your home in the fall season, and it is the most Halloween house I have ever seen in my entire life. So Lauren is very much a spooky season person. It's
probably the biggest point of contention between my wife and I. Yeah. That and the affairs. Yeah. But mainly the Halloween stuff.
Who's having the affairs on who?
Well, this is a Halloween episode. We're not going to get into it.
Okay. Yeah. We'll save that for the affairs episode. That makes sense. Well, thankfully, we are joined by someone who is very much into the spooky season, and that is a dear friend, Paige Sixx, who's a very talented Twitch streamer. We'll get to that later. We'll let her promote herself later. But Paige, how are you doing? What are you drinking today?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm drinking coffee because it's like 11 a.m. here. So, yeah.
Yeah, Paige lives in Korea. She is our first, not our first, because we had Canadians on the show, but our most international guest.
Most international.
Yeah. Furthest away.
Yeah.
That's a better way to say it.
Yeah, maybe that is the best way to say it. You might be right.
I'm on a different continent.
Yeah. But thanks so much for joining us, Paige. And I mean, I know you love the spooky season, right?
I do love the spooky season. I love the horror movies and all the pumpkin shit and everything like that.
Do you know what you're going to be for Halloween this year?
Oh, good question.
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I keep debating, and I'm thinking about going with Mystique from X-Men, but I'm not sure.
Excellent choice.
But that really depends on if I can find some kind of outfit. So, yeah.
Well, and that's a full body makeup.
Yeah, that's a real commitment.
That's not not a last second decision put together.
Yeah,
I have seen Paige's previous Halloween efforts, and she goes all out. I will say.
I go all out. Yeah. I had a bald cap for one of my last ones. So.
Yeah. Are you gonna have an X-Men group? Are you just gonna be Mystique by yourself?
Nope. I'm just gonna be Mystique by myself.
I like that. Mystique goes along.
I tried to get like a Marvel group together with my friends, but nobody can decide on who they would want to be in Marvel. So
that's sad. What about you, Preston? Are you dressing up for Halloween this year?
I believe just today, Lauren purchased corpse bride and groom outfits.
Oh, nice. That's cute.
So I usually let her handle it. We've done couples costumes now for, I think, like 9 consecutive years.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? If you're in a long-term relationship.
Yes. The best was we did a Joker Harley Quinn in college that was all out. I just happened to go to like a thrift store and find a purple like suit that worked wonderfully. It was excellent. We'll have to, that's a little tease for the Instagram. We'll post a picture there for people that want to come see.
Great plug. Great plug. We might be rusty for the podcast, but Preston still knows how to plug the socials.
Promo it.
I have no Halloween costume plans. I haven't worn a costume in a long time. I also just moved recently. I'm in North Carolina now, and any like resource that I would have had of making a costume are no longer with me. So maybe, and I'm not like committed enough to dressing up I love Halloween. My favorite part of Halloween is giving out candy to trick-or-treaters. So I've never been like big dressing up, going to Halloween parties or anything like that. I totally get why people are into it, but it's never been my thing. But yeah, so that's my big news. I also am drinking, because now that I'm in a state where fall actually happens at a reasonable time of year, I am drinking a whiskey cider. I feel like it's a little festive, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Festive.
I'm jealous. That's very nice. That's very nice.
Yeah. And we're going to keep the festive theme going with our draft. Of course. I mean, obviously we're doing this because it's a Halloween draft. But Preston, what are we drafting for this week's episode?
All right, everybody. Open your mind to the possibilities because you're getting out there into the dating world. And we are drafting 6 lovely single people, animals, entities. We'll find out for you to have a rapid speed dating round with. We are drafting the best horror villains for speed dating. We're going off of a set list plus a few additions that were not included in the list. The list is from Thrillist.com. It's 33 best horror movie villains ranked. Weirdly enough, nobody's ever made a list about the best ones to date, so we couldn't find an exact list for that. But
we're making it right now.
Yeah, after this, somebody will have made that. And then Daniel wanted to add a couple more on there. So if you happen to look at the list, what are the 3 you've added?
We are adding Hannibal Lecter, Chucky from Child's Play, and Ghostface from the Scream movies. I mean, basically, we just wanted a list of the classics. And it was weirdly hard enough to find. Yeah, the iconic is the perfect word, Paige. It was. I spent a lot of time trying to find a perfect list that included all of them, but weirdly, they would all leave off 1 or 2 or 3. So we found kind of like the one that seemed the best, and then added the 3 or so that were missing. So basically, we're just picking from the iconic horror movie villains of all time.
But before you send that tweet that says, "Why wasn't the Vine monster from Legends of the Hidden Temple selected?" It's because they weren't included on this list.
Is that a horror movie?
No, it's not. It's absolutely not.
I was thinking, like, wow, I haven't seen that one.
There is one. I don't really watch any horror movies. There's.
We should address this.
I can very clearly very clearly remember the 4 I've seen in my entire life. And one of them is this really terrible movie about some kids that go exploring in an Aztec temple and they get attacked by vines. And the vines start growing inside them and stuff, and it's terrible. It's closer to a body horror type stuff, which I absolutely hate. I have seen The Strangers, which is not on this list. I have seen The Exorcist.
That's the one with the people in bag masks?
Yeah. I have seen The Exorcist, both versions, old and new. I have seen The Conjuring, which is not really on this list. And then Silence of the Lambs, I've never counted as horror, but Hannibal Lecter.
It's a thriller. It's like horror.
It's a thriller. Yeah. So not counting that one, that I believe is all of them that I have watched start to finish. Maybe we'll find a hidden gem a bit later that I actually
have seen Jaws?
Okay. I guess I watched Jaws when I was a kid. I don't have memory for it though. Is there a part of the movie where the shark goes on dates?
No.
Okay.
So we got to speculate there. Really,
move him down my list.
Not many of these characters do go on dates that I'm aware of.
not
some of them do.
Many. Maybe it's a personal part of their lives that we don't know.
Of being a villain.
Yeah, they're so one-dimensionalized in these movies. So we're going to try to get past that. I really do not like being scared at all. So I don't watch really any horror movies. So Preston and I both coming from a pretty large place of ignorance. The ones that I have seen Jaws, because is that really a horror movie? I don't know. It's like, It was like a summer blockbuster thriller, but one of the great movie villains of all time, I guess. And he's scary for sure.
Jaws is scary.
I think people especially when that movie came out and it seemed much more realistic than our kind of privileged 3D and effects.
Yeah, I think that's why I have a fear of sharks.
I think for a lot of people, were
I watched it when I was quite young.
Yeah. I think that's true for a lot of people.
Now we have the
maybe
Meg.
One of the most impactful, the Meg. Yeah,
that makes Jaws look so cute.
But yeah, I think probably that's one of the most impactful horror movies, if you want to put it in that category of all time, where it gave most people real phobias. And then the other one that I've seen is Psycho, which I also wouldn't really call a horror movie, but more of a thriller. But yeah, so I think Paige is going to hopefully carry us with some of the horror movie villain knowledge. That's our hope.
Hopefully, I don't know.
There's that
some of these I
haven't
seen actually quite a few on the list, but I've seen at least 50%, I think. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. And I will say, I mean, if you are confident in the way you bullshit us, we're gonna have to believe you because we haven't seen it.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'll just pretend.
Yeah. Okay, but so here's the draft order. it is myself first, then Preston, then Paige, and of course, as always, snake style draft, the order will reverse on even number rounds. Before we get into it, do we have any questions or anything we need to clarify before we get going?
Is there anything we're like rating them on? Like,
just
what are our parameters? What's our rubric?
Best speed dating?
Yeah, what are
who would be the best to speed? I think we're all gonna have our own rubrics, right?
Yeah, I mean, mine personally, not to give too much away, but I'm usually looking for the villains that are misunderstood, and which causes them to lash out, or they were initially put through some sort of trauma that causes them to lash out, which means there's potential that they could
have been different people in a different timeline.
Exactly.
If they had gone to therapy, maybe
they weren't born that way.
Yeah.
If they hadn't been bullied by the children, then yes, they turn out.
I'm looking for like good conversationalists, people who probably won't murder me like instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, who at least let it drag it out.
Yeah, I've never been speed dating, but I have an idea of what it's like. You want someone who is going to like excel in little 10-minute snippets, right? Like it's going to make your 10 minutes enjoyable. That's what you want.
The goal here is not to stay alive, because I feel like that'd be easy, and we could just say minor in public. The goal is to have the best time and potentially build relationships out.
Yeah, maybe meet that special someone.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we're all agreed then. And I will take the first pick. And this is tough. I actually do have an A tier here. Oh, I thought going into this, there's no way anything would be above a B, but I have a handful of A's, which is maybe it's all relative, but I am going to go ahead. This is tough because I think there's two that I think are above the rest, and I feel like one is more likely to be taken. I'm not sure, but you know what? I'm just gonna take the one that I think is best, even if it might be a mistake. It is one that I specifically requested we add to the list, and that is Hannibal Lecter. And I think Hannibal Lecter, he has an undeniable charisma about him. Yes. He'd be a great conversationalist especially for a short frame. He's incredibly. I mean, he's a genius. He also, I think, would get us a really great order of wine, which I think would be real nice for those 10 minutes we're spending together. So that's what I'm thinking. Hannibal,
sophisticated.
Extremely sophisticated. Yes.
And I will say, out of all the people I can think of here, the only one to have been on a date in their film. Their films. I mean, he has dinner, there's candles, there's cooking. If that's not a date, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and 10 minutes will not give enough time for him to eat meat. If that's like I feel like it's a big drawback.
How much time would it take, Dan?
At least, I mean, I don't know how long it takes to cook a person, but I'd guess at least an hour.
It's one of those questions we'll always wonder.
Yeah, but that's where I'm at with Hannibal. It seems like you both kind of agree with me.
Yeah, he was definitely going to be my first pick as well.
Nice.
Yeah, when you said you wanted the good conversationalist, I knew that's where you were going to go.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm taking second here. It's not all about romance here. Sometimes you're just trying to have the best time. You're trying to have a positive experience. And it's not always about the conversation to have a positive experience.
What are you getting at here, Preston?
You know where I'm going with here?
No, it sounds like you're about to be very sexual, though.
I've actually said both of those things to lead up to one of two things I could choose, because both of these villains are not known for their conversation. I'm going to take the one that is better known. I'm going to take Frankenstein's monster.
Ooh.
This is the epitome of misunderstanding. Not only is he a misunderstood villain, and that causes him to be a villain, people don't know his name because they call him Frankenstein. He's not Frankenstein. He's Frankenstein's monster. And really, I think part of our conversation, if we can have one, is to find out what his actual name is, because it feels bad to call him Frankenstein's monster.
He was never given a name, really, I don't think.
I don't think so. I just watched Young Frankenstein.
What a movie. My tradition, because I don't like horror movies, I watch Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror every year, and I watch Young Frankenstein every year. Those are my Halloween watches.
I'm so glad you cut me off, because I'll just agree with you and say that it's great. I definitely wasn't going to say anything else had I continued that sentence. But that movie definitely paints Frankenstein's monster as a much more like lovable and relatable character. We've all been there. We've all felt like the creation of somebody else's misdeeds one time or another. And and yet we persist. So anyways, that's my choice, Frankenstein's monster.
Are you
Yoish.
unveiling some maybe rough relationship with the
I'm
parents?
just saying, we've all been there. We've all been there.
I don't know that we have, but all right.
So I guess it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so I guess I'm going to go with Dracula because vampires are sexy. Yeah, yes. Vampires are sexy. He's been alive for a very long time. I'm sure if he wanted to be, he could be a great conversationalist.
100%.
And if there's speed dating in a public place, he's probably not going to eat you right then, but he might seduce you and then eat you later. I don't know. But you know what? I think he'd be a great conversationalist.
I've had worse nights. Am I right?
Listen,
yeah, right. See,
everything is somebody's something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? No, this is a great choice. What are the real differences between Dracula and Edward Cullen from the Twilights? Not much. I mean, listen, they're both.
I think we all would.
I think most of us would. I think all of us on the show might.
Everyone's going to go on a date with a vampire, right?
With a glittery 17-year-old that's really 108 or something. No, Dracula was in the S tier for me. Makes a lot of sense. Great choice.
Yeah, it was my number 2. And Paige said sexy, and there aren't many that I think you could genuinely put in that category.
I think he's very. I can think of one more on this list. But
it is your pick again. It is your pick again.
It was my pick again.
Yeah, you do get back.
If you want to take the other sexy
then I'm
person.
actually going to go for I forgot his name. Sorry, I'm looking. I only know him. Prepared. I don't know his real name. I only know the actor's name. Okay, Seth from The Fly.
Because
Seth Brundle. One he's played by Jeff Goldblum, but also but also he's like, he falls in love and then he gets really jealous and then he turns to this awful, ugly creature, basically. And she doesn't want to be with him anymore because looks disgusting and is a giant fly.
I mean,
but
strong word.
Yeah, well,
he doesn't look great.
Obviously,
he doesn't look great.
Okay.
But honestly, on this list, it's not so bad. I mean, there are some crazy things.
Okay, that's
on this
true.
list.
That's true.
At least he is humanoid in nature.
He isn't later in the movie.
Oh, never mind.
That picture is an okay picture. Yeah, but later
that was the glamour shot. Okay, my bad.
It's pretty early in the deformation stage.
That's earlier in the fly. Yeah.
Okay, but he's capable of love, is what you're saying.
He is capable of love, yes, and he's not a bad guy. Yeah, he just kind of messes up some experimentation. Yeah. So I think he'd be I don't know if he can talk after he becomes a fly. How
he struggles with it a little bit. I think he can get some wiggle room in which stage you get him in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. I
don't think you gotta get him at his worst.
Hopefully you don't get him at his worst, but I think he's a pretty good choice.
Yeah, I like this pick. I had Seth Brundle in my B tier because he is, as Preston said, and like when he was listing his criteria, you're kind of looking for people that are, you could argue that they're actually good guys, and Seth Brundle definitely one of those. And as Paige said, he's Jeff Goldblum deep down, and early on he's Jeff Goldblum externally as well. So I mean, again, a real plus. I like the pick.
Okay, well that brings it back to me.
It does.
And I'm going to take somebody that I'm convinced I can fix, which I think is a strong staple.
In 10 minutes,
big mood.
Yeah, I do think I could fix this person in 10 minutes. I'm going to take Cujo the dog from Cujo.
Dang. He was on my list too.
So this is who I was hinting at when I said not known for conversation.
Yeah.
I have not seen the movie, but I have in my actual life, IRL,
met a rabid dog.
I have met very angry, bitey dogs, and I've only had a couple really bad encounters. So like I'm usually able to work through it and get the dog to a point where, we respect each other. And I haven't seen the movie, but if there's one thing I know to be true in this world, Dan and Paige.
Yeah.
It's that dogs are born good. Something happened to this dog somewhere along the way.
Yeah,
that
do you know what
Cujo
it was?
Want to eat people. No, I haven't seen him. What happened?
He gets bit by a rabid, like squirrel or a rabbit or something. He's like literally a rabid dog.
That's curable. Is it? I don't know that's
is
curable.
It?
I don't know.
I think if you treat it early enough, it is. I think
if you treat it
become
early.
fully rabid, I think it's done, son.
I even still think I would take a rabid dog over everybody else on this list. So I'm going with
fair enough. There's nothing I can say to that.
And Cujo in non-rabid form is adorable.
He's a sweetheart. It really is. He's one of the most tragic villains because he is just a very sweet, protective dog, and then turns rabid and becomes murderous.
Yeah, and that's not his fault. And I'm going to be able to fix that.
Okay, well,
I have hope.
Good luck in developing the late-stage rabies vaccine.
No problem.
Get your shots.
I love the pick. It's off the wall for sure. I did not have Cujo on my list, I must admit.
You did not?
I did not.
You're not a big dog person,
on my
Dan.
list. I was like a dog. Come on.
I just think even best case scenario, I don't really want to be on a date with a dog, but maybe that's just me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would go on many dates with many dogs.
That's the difference between us.
I'm sure dogs would have been a better option on some dates that I've been on. So,
And you know what? I don't know that dogs would go on dates with you, Dan. So
they would. Dogs are not picky. Maybe that's one of the bright sides of getting a dog, I guess.
You want to tell the listeners of the show your first time you met my dog and see if my dog would be interested in hanging out with you?
This was not the first time I met your dog, which is one of the worst things about it. But Preston is referencing this incident where I was staying with him on a trip to Atlanta, and for some reason he and Lauren were both gone early in the day. And so when I walk out of the room I'm staying into the living room, and his dog Luna is there, and his dog loves me. Is obsessed with me. Every time I see it, it's all over me, like trying to lick my face, which I hate. It's obsessed with me. But every time I'm around Luna, Preston is also there. And so for whatever reason, with the safety blanket of Preston and Lauren being gone, when I come out, Luna is fucking terrified of me. And is like shaking, horrified. And I try to do the thing because like I learned at a very young age, like you let the dog sniff your hand, and then
which is what I'm going to do with Cujo, by the way. Just
nice.
Yeah.
Because like that, like it when you meet it, you should let it sniff your hand, and then when you like if it's like nervous or whatever, when you're reacquainting with a dog, that's like how they remember you or whatever. And so I try to do that, and as I'm like very slowly approaching it, or her, I should say, Luna's a she. She is so scared that she pees on the couch.
Yes, which has never happened. Yeah. Never happened since then.
I know. I felt awful. I felt so bad. And like ever since then, we've been good buds. I mean, Luna's a sweetheart, and I'm always very nice to her. But she was absolutely terrified of me that day for whatever reason.
Very weird.
That is really weird.
Lauren does have a theory that she can recognize when people have done something truly terrible. Like if we're walking down a path and like people are passing us on the sidewalk, Luna's not paying no mind. And then when she turns and she sees somebody, she'll start growling, and that person looks innocuous. And Lauren's like, they just killed somebody.
Yeah,
they just killed a person. They're a serial killer.
All those dogs I've killed in my life. But yeah, that it was not the first time. Like I would have understood it more if it had been the first time. But I had spent time with Luna multiple times before then.
Yeah.
Luna's a very emotionally inconsistent figure. That is for sure. Yeah. But anyways, we can move on.
Okay. I'm glad we had that moment to get it off my chest, though. Okay. What to do? I still have a couple on my A tier list, but I feel like they're ones that are going to go maybe unsung by you guys, but I'll just stick with them. I'm going to go ahead and Preston, this is very much in the same vein of thought as Preston with his first pick, and that is taking the Bride of Frankenstein. And basically, Bride of Frankenstein is the exact same as Frankenstein, but for whatever reason, made to be much more physically attractive to the female attractive community. I don't know why that was, why Frankenstein's once tried to be this hideous beast, and the Bride of Frankenstein got to be kind of a babe. But I'm going to take the babe version of Frankenstein.
Conversation for a different day. But yeah, I was going for more of like the popular choice here. But in practical terms, it does seem like you got the better value, I suppose, out of that. But I'm still happy with mine.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, I think the Frankenstein pick was a fine pick. I just am happy to get that. Basically the same pick, but in a more conventionally attractive, to my straight male eyes, with my selection here. Paige, do you have any thoughts?
I think that's a great pick.
Thank you, Paige.
I didn't even realize she was on the list, actually.
Yeah, they kind of lumped. They
coupled them together.
Yeah, they kind of lumped them together.
Yeah. But when I saw that, I was like, oh well, there's 2 picks. So, and then I think next, this is very much in the realm of totally a good guy, apart from a very unfortunate thing happening to him. And if my speed date does not happen on one night of the month,
I know,
then I am totally fine and get a totally perfect normal dude who falls in love and has someone fall in love with him in the movie. Mm-hmm. And that is David Kessler, who is the American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, that was my next pick. Because of what you said, pick. Like, to run into the real problems with this guy, you have to have some remarkably bad luck.
Yeah.
So you should be just fine.
Yeah, and he seems like a fine guy. The one knock you can have on him, if you want to knock on him, which I don't know I would be doing because he's my pick, but the one knock on him is in the movie, he's told by, it seems unclear, like the dying ghost of his friend who gets mauled by the werewolf initially. It's hard to tell, but he's telling him like, hey, you're a werewolf now. Kill yourself before the next full moon so you don't kill other people, and he doesn't do it. That's like the one knock you could put. Like, who among us would be like, yeah, I believe my dead friend who I thought was dead, who's now coming back and tell me, hey, bro, you're a werewolf, kill yourself. Like, who's going to believe that ever, you know?
No. Nobody.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
We have all been there. Exactly.
Good choice.
Thank you. All right, Preston, it's your third pick now.
All right, well, the conventional choices are gone. I don't see any left. Yeah. We're now getting into the ones where when you decide to speed date this person, you were putting yourself in legitimate danger. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, that's perfectly put.
Yeah. So, on that being said, Daniel, what if you had to say through our conversations that we have as friends, what have I been very into over the last couple months that I've dropped entirely too much money on?
Board games.
I'm taking Jigsaw.
Oh my God.
I love that, actually.
I at the very least think that it would be engaging.
Yeah.
That I'd be like, hey, how are you? Tell me about yourself. What do you do for a living? And he's like, I have laid 5 forks on the table. 2 of them contain life-saving medicine for the person to your left. 3 of them will kill you instantly. And just like, I'm going to be like, wow. Who's going to see this coming?
What an icebreaker. I love that. I really love that. Now, here's a question for you, Preston. So in this list, there's a picture seemingly of a relatively normal-looking human man.
Yeah, that's
he's like maybe disfigured in the face. But so are you getting like the puppet?
Yes.
Okay.
I want the puppet. That's clearly from a sequel where he's like his character is revealed and Jigsaw or whoever's revealed. I've seen clips and like I remember going to a party or something in high school or something and people had this movie on and I remember the puppet. That's who I know. That's who I want. That's who I want to play games with.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring Scrabble and see if I can get Jigsaw to play Scrabble with me.
Paige, have you seen any of the Saw movies?
I have. Yeah, I have seen.
Okay. Well, what do you think of this
Saw movies?
You have to lead us here because I know basically nothing about Jigsaw.
Okay. Well,
don't be afraid to really ridicule this pick. Paige. Do not be afraid.
I think it's really weird that you want the little puppet on the tricycle thing instead of the guy.
I mean, listen.
Hey, no kink shaming here, Paige. There's one rule in this podcast.
I'm just saying.
One rule.
Also, the dude is just like a dude. There's nothing interesting about him. I mean, at least when he's behind the mask.
I think he would be very psychologically engaging. And there were some people, I actually think it's a good pick because there were some people who went through the Saw experience and then they came out thanking him for it, even though they almost died.
Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What? Under what context did they think him?
I'm pretty sure at least one person ended up kind of like helping him with like his next things or something. Didn't that happen?
They opened a small coffee shop together.
No, like they
become pen pals.
They were like,
write letters.
They were like, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, or something like that.
What the?
I feel like that happened. I could be totally wrong.
I'm gonna need to do some research into this.
Very odd.
That sounds very strange.
He's clearly an anti-hero and the same name as Daredevil.
That just sounds like some real Stockholm syndrome shit to me.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. Yeah, but it happened. So after you're out of that whatever he sets you up to do, then I guess he's a pretty okay guy.
Play with Preston.
Yeah, whatever game he wants to play with you. Then I guess after that he's a pretty okay guy, and better than some of them on the list, I guess. So.
Okay.
Eventually,
endorsement from Paige there.
Eventually on this show, in the year 2032, we're gonna run out of Halloween content, and I think Daniel, you and I should just watch all the Saw movies, all of them, back to back.
Saw movies.
We'll just draft the activities we think we could do the best at.
That's pretty good, actually. I like that.
Like the things we would be able to survive with the highest percentage of success.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those are rough.
Yeah,
some of them
it's going to take a lot for me to watch those movies. So we better have a lot more like Patreon supporters by that point in our career. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
That's a good point. That's legitimately something I don't want to do, which is not often something I do for this show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Paige, you once again have back-to-back picks.
Okay. Oh no. Wow. I'm not prepared. I feel like you guys have a tier list and I'm just kind of winging it.
Hey, sometimes that works best.
It's worked for people.
I will overthink it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with this because I feel like in some of the movies he's quite scary, but in other movies he's actually quite funny. Freddy Krueger. So yeah, like he makes a lot of like jokes, and you always need someone who's gonna lighten the mood in your little speed dating thing. And he's pretty interesting. He's probably seen a lot of shit being in people's nightmares and stuff. So I feel like he has a really
that Freddy.
Yeah, a dark sense of humor. And sometimes he's kind of sexual. He has like a weird sexual kind of humor sometimes.
Yeah, he gives off big child predator vibes for sure.
Yeah, he kind of does. But he'll make because he's in dreams, he'll make like wet dream kind of references and weird stuff because there's blood in his dream, and he's like, haha.
Ooh,
nice.
Yeah.
You're not really selling it.
I'm not selling him now. My bad. But.
So this is what I have. I did have Freddy on my list, and my very short summary for him was, I don't know why, but people like him. So I think I cannot understand it, but I think that people will support you in this pick, Page.
He takes a weird comedic turn in the later movies. From what I've heard.
he makes something kind of scary kind of fun, and I think that's a great thing. That's a great personality trait.
So Paige, I will say another problem I would have with Freddy is he's horribly disfigured. I personally,
what's your problem?
I would have a hard time.
What's your problem, man?
Trying to create some sort of chemistry with a guy who looked like Freddy Krueger, and maybe that makes me.
I don't think he looks that bad.
She's already got the fly.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't Freddy Krueger just like a part of the Fly's development?
Basically, that's a really good point, Preston. Very good point.
Yeah,
I mean,
Paige, the least shallow person,
and I already have the very handsome Dracula, so I have like my handsome pick.
True. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, right.
What's your fourth pick now, Paige?
Oh gosh, this one's hard. There aren't a lot of great choices after this.
To be honest, there were never great choices.
Well, that's true.
The number one pick was a cannibal.
Yeah.
So we should
kind of the nature of the draft, right?
Yeah, no, it's part of it.
Yeah. That was kind of the number one pick. Gosh, it's between two different ones. And I feel like nobody is gonna choose this one. So,
Paige experiencing for the first time the horrible dilemma of this show.
Yeah. Oh, this is very difficult. Well, okay. I'm going to choose the Invisible Man.
Oh, interesting.
This definitely counteracts the ugly streak you had going.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
That's true. I guess we don't know.
Yeah, that's true. But in my defense, I'm not sure if it's in my defense or not. I haven't seen the original 1933 one. I've only seen the most recent one.
It came out a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, the one that came out a couple of years ago. So I don't know what he looked like in the original one.
I don't know that you see him at all in the original one.
Oh, really? Well, in the newer one, he's actually quite handsome.
But I think the newer one is quite different from the original, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think they make it more about like he's invisible because of like the technology that he develops. Mm-hmm. He's still crazy. But you know, I've dated my share of crazy people. And and I feel like
you're ready to sign up for it again.
Well, yeah, you know, I feel like he, compared to some other people on this list, you know, he might not be so bad. Yeah, just he has a really like kind of possessive, jealous, crazy gaslighting streak. So you should definitely watch out for that. But I think he's a good choice compared to some of the other people on this list.
Can you tell us? I feel like Paige is giving us all the reasons to not like the pick.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let's see. He's loyal. He's very loyal.
Okay.
From what I can tell.
He's invisible.
He's invisible. He could
always
possibly, and he's a man. The biggest one. He is a human.
He has a human form.
Man. Yeah, he's not a fly. He's you know, he's not a shark. So that's kind of, he's got that going for him.
So I will say I did not have the Invisible Man on my list because he seemed like one of the most irredeemable villains of all of the villains to me.
Really?
He just
why?
Because he's just a fucked up dude for the sake of being a fucked up dude, basically, because he can get away with it because he invents the ability to be invisible.
That's fair. No consequences.
That's pretty much it.
But yes. But it's solid pick anyway, Paige.
I mean, yes, it is. It's a great pick.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Preston, who is your fourth pick?
All right. Well, I am going to go with a character from a movie I had forgotten I had seen, the newer version of.
Uh-huh.
A character who I believe is not the villain of their story, but is listed as the villain.
Intriguing.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Carrie from Carrie.
That actually was really good.
I do not believe that Carrie is the villain in Carrie. I believe that
she's really not. It's the mom.
She is
I would agree with that.
Just off like terribly, and she doesn't know how to control these crazy telekinetic superpowers she has. But it's really like a story about how bullying goes too far. Not the only story like that on this list, but definitely I think the most prominent.
Not just bullying, but also having a very conservative, overbearing mother as well.
Yes,
those two kind of in combo. I can't remember. I feel like Carrie wasn't on this list, but was on plenty of other lists, so I'm totally fine with allowing this pick.
Carrie was on this list. Was
she on this list?
Is she on this list?
I don't think she is, if I'm being totally honest.
Oh, she's not.
But it's fine.
Carrie the movie is on this list, but
yeah, because the mom is on the list. I think.
Yeah, the mom.
Well, then my whole point is moot.
I think it's fine. There are other lists where Carrie is listed as the villain.
Okay. I think it's fine. If the panel is okay with it, we'll let it stand.
It's Halloween, man. It's this, you know, the spirit of the season.
Yeah. Also, I've seen the new Carrie. I have not seen the old one. If the old one is better, somebody come let me know in the Discord or something.
I think the old one is supposed to be a lot better, from what I've heard.
Then I will actually watch that one. Because I liked the new one. I thought it was interesting. So I will definitely go watch that one.
Yeah. It's a classic. It is a classic. And I totally agree. Carrie is, I think, I actually think I'm still very fine with allowing it because she isn't on a lot of these lists. I always find it a little weird that she's on the lists because I feel like Carrie is supposed to be a pretty sympathetic figure.
I mean, she's the only one in the movie that murders. So
yeah,
that kind of makes her de facto a villain, right?
I guess. But she's like the protagonist of the film, right? Like the story is told through her perspective, basically. And then the reason she murders is because she's pushed to the brink by all these people that are absolutely fucking awful to her all the fucking time. And they finally hit her breaking point.
You know, I think we may have stumbled upon the point of the movie.
I think so indeed.
Is that aren't we all the villains in someone else's story?
Oh.
I'd like to think not.
Yeah,
I would hope not.
I'd certainly hope not. But maybe.
But maybe we are. Who knows? Maybe there's people that just fucking hate the Drafted podcast, and the fact that Preston and I put it out in winning season every week, it just pushes them to the brink of losing their fucking lives.
Somewhere a Lex Luthor style character is listening to this episode, and they're going to be determined to take over the world and like dominate a podcasting empire so large that they stop allowing us.
They stifle us. Yeah. If so, we apologize to that person. I don't know why you'd be listening if you hate us that much, but we didn't mean it. Okay, we're just trying to have some fun here. But I like the Carrie pick. She, I think, in a different world, Carrie would be an absolute sweetheart and would be an absolute delight to go on a date with. So,
yeah,
I think that's a solid pick. Now, for me, I feel like I'm off to a real strong start. I have to say that's how I'm feeling about my team. But now we're getting it. Now we're getting to the weird picks. I think we've established that.
We're way gone. Yeah.
And I think for my weird pick, I'm going to go with a killer who isn't taken. Definitely a killer. And it's kind of two in a way, at least in the original movie. I don't know how the sequels all play out. But this is a movie that I have seen parts of and am relatively aware of. I'm going to take Ghostface because Ghostface in Scream is kind of like not meant to be taken that seriously. It's kind of like a half parody of horror movies. And it's a funny movie. And if like Ghostface, the killer, is very klutzy, very clumsy, gets a lot of stuff wrong, and I think this would probably make for a very funny, good story after my speed date with him. Like he'd probably run in too fast and like bang into the table and spill all the water all over everyone. It would be an absolute disaster. But yeah, it would be chock full of slapstick humor, and I think would be a funny story if nothing else.
Does Screamface talk?
Oh yeah, he does like the voice over the.
Gotcha.
The voicing over the phone. We might only be able to talk over the phone.
That's fine. Listen, it's 2021. People have very healthy relationships over the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID brought that. It's a very modern thing.
Mm-hmm.
Digital relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I also like. I mean, Ghostface definitely is fucked up, but I feel like we're in the spot where everyone here is pretty much fucked up. Like,
yeah, I feel like based on who's left, you kind of got a neutral pick, which is fine. That's fine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm shooting for.
Took a run-of-the-mill murderer.
Yeah, who's kind of funny and goofy,
Yeah,
it's a plus. It's a plus area. That's really all I can hope for at this point. With my next pick, this one is going to be a little weird as well, but I'm going to take Pinhead from the Hellraiser franchise. And I don't have much experience with Pinhead, but in my research, I did discover that in the first movie, he isn't really the villain. The real villain is a fucked up dude who like uses this woman that he's having an affair with to capture men and drain their life essence. And basically Pinhead is just a priest from hell who gets summoned whenever this weird game box gets solved. And it's just his duty to like bring souls into hell. And it's not really his fault. He was a human back in the day. And he says in his intro, I am just a traveler. And he's kind of lost like the balance between pleasure and pain. So he's kind of warped in that way. But he also, I guess in one of the sequels, he's like kind of sympathetic. Like he doesn't kill a little girl who accidentally summons him. So there's something deep down inside of him that's good. And he's very intelligent and you can have actual conversations with him. We're kind of get the villains like that aren't very conversational. So I'm going to take Pinhead.
Daniel, let's just talk for a second here.
Okay.
Just pretend it's just you and me. Just two old buddies.
Paige isn't here?
No. I'm not here.
No.
Oh, okay.
Neither are any of the people listening at home.
You're making me feel uncomfortable here.
Is this your thing? Is this your thing? Is this what you're into?
Preston,
he's got a bunch of needles coming out of his face.
I'm glad you asked, Preston.
I honestly don't think he looks that bad.
Thank you, Paige. I mean, he's just into some kinky shit, Preston, okay? What do I say?
Listen, I'm not trying to shame you.
One rule, and it's no kink shaming.
I chose Freddy Krueger, so I feel like in comparison.
In comparison, actually, yeah, it's pretty good. It's good value.
even attractive in comparison.
Thank you, Paige.
You know,
Thank you.
He's not.
Listen, you pick a dream boat with your next pick, okay? If there are so many available.
He's just into some weird shit. He's just into some weird shit.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to take Pinhead to bed with me at the end of the night. He's my 5th speed dating option, you know? I'm just trying to pick the people who aren't going to be the worst 10 minutes at this point. And I think he would not be the worst 10 minutes. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. I totally knew that you guys would let Pinhead, who is my absolute, my sexual top choice number 1.
Absolutely.
Number 1.
That is your number 1.
He kind of has that like BDSM style to him.
This is what I'm saying. He has a room that has some stuff in it.
He definitely does 100%.
50 Shades of Pinhead.
Exactly.
All right. Well,
that could be a fun time if I do end up going to bed with Pinhead. You know, it'd be a wild night.
Yeah, something to remember.
Yeah.
All right, you guys got to go with me here on this one. This is a bit of a stretch.
What a good start.
And this is not a bit. I'm legitimately asking this question. There was a movie that came out a couple years ago that won a bunch of Oscars about a woman falling in love with some weird sort of fish man.
Oh, that's not a horror movie. And he's not.
I know it's not a horror movie. What was the movie called?
Shape of Water.
The Shape of Water.
Oh, okay. So I know where you're going.
I'm going to do a Shape of Water with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I love this pick.
I'm going to do a Shape of Water. And listen, here's the big thing. This is all you need to know, people at home. Yes, he looks a little weird. He is clearly, character definingly capable of love and affection. Clearly. If anything,
what more do you need than that?
That is true. And at the end of the day, don't we all just want to be wanted?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's really deep, Preston.
The real answer here is that I'm just a very naturally curious person, and I would want to ask some questions about what it's like to be that.
Oh, you'd want to ask some questions, huh?
Ask some questions.
Listen, Daniel, no king shaming. We said it at the top of the show.
I am not king shaming. I just want you to say what you really mean.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know what it's like.
I will say that this is very in right now, the whole Fishman thing. Like in the boys, there's one of the boys characters is like an Aquaman ripoff, and he has gills, and that's like a sexual thrill for one of his groupies. So
Yep. Okay. It's a big thing.
I love this pick, honestly. At this stage of the draft, I think you got to get a little creative.
I think it's a pretty good pick, actually.
I'm going to do a Shape of Water with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
I love.
Try and stop me.
I love that, like, one, you just criticize me for wanting to get sexual with Pinhead, and then even though that's like sex is not the parameter of the draft, you're like, listen, in my 10 minutes of Creature of the Black Lagoon, we're getting freaky.
We're going into the tank, and we're gonna win all the awards of the Academy, baby.
We're going into the tank.
Shower us with those best pictures.
Oh, jeez.
I love the pick. It's my favorite pick so far. So I'm sorry you have to follow that up now, Paige. I mean, I don't think we can fault Creature of the Black Lagoon at all.
Gosh, it's troubling. Choosing someone at this point.
Well, these are your last 2 picks, Paige. So you gotta hit them here. They're the most critical picks of the draft.
Okay, so I think there are some of them that are just like misunderstood. They just want to be loved, and maybe if they weren't viciously murdered, they would be a really nice person. So I'm gonna go with Sadako from The Ring.
Wow,
that's
very interesting?
Isn't she like 13?
I mean, I took Carrie. Carrie's canonically like 15.
I think Carrie. I thought Carrie was a senior in high school. I thought it was like
we're trying to
prom.
Listen. We're trying to ignore the fact. We're trying to ignore the fact that some of us have chosen things we don't really want to date. You know what I mean?
Okay.
No, I think she's older though. I think she's older. I feel
maybe
like
a year or two.
I don't think it says Sadako was born in 1947.
Oh, so there you go.
Yeah, but I don't think she's aged. She's a girl in the recording.
Is she?
Well, listen.
Yes. She's 19.
The law is not so clear.
She's at least 19. She's at least 19.
I need to see proof of this.
I'm looking at Wikipedia.
All right, if Wikipedia says it, I'll buy it. I'm suspicious.
Wikipedia says it. She is of age, so don't
all
come
right,
at
all
me.
right, all right.
Okay, so
enough.
let's play this out. So you're at the speed dating. You've just finished with The Fly. Things went kind of so. On to the next one.
It would have been great. With
Somebody brings out an old CRT TV.
No, but I'm saying
no, she gets the girl.
Just the girl.
Okay, not the tape.
Not the VHS.
The actual girl.
I think the tape would be better.
So she's just a vengeful ghost. She's a vengeful ghost, but maybe you can she can have some redemption, or maybe she falls in love and then stops her vengeful ghost ways.
Maybe a lot of things.
And gets a haircut or something.
Ooh, that's nice.
Maybe. Yeah.
So apparently what sends her into her murderous spirit ways is that her true love dies, and then something really awful happens to her, and then she swears to get revenge on humanity, basically.
Yeah, I think she was murdered viciously, and I think her love murdered viciously. I just know
I think her love was murdered, and then she something bad happens to her. She's not murdered, but she decides to go down into a well, and she swears before she dies she's gonna get her.
She didn't go down into the well by choice. Pretty sure she was thrown into the well.
Yeah, well, there's just exploring down in the bottom of this well.
Yeah, I don't think she went to the well to.
Well, sometimes sometimes just want to go into a well. Okay, but she was there against her will. Now, I will say, assuming that Paige is right in that she is of age, and I don't have to feel weird saying this, she is definitely a type. And again, there's no judgment here, so I think that is a fine pick. You're gonna pick up some votes with that, I think.
Gotta say, very different than all your other picks.
Which is good, right?
Different.
You want variety.
You gotta have variety. That's what you want. You want variety in your speed dating.
Little slice from every pie.
Variety is the spice of life,
Exactly.
Yours was a phrase people actually used. That made a lot more sense than whatever the hell I just said.
Variety.
Yeah.
All right, Paige. So what's your final pick? Your final speed dater.
Bear with me here.
Mm-hmm.
He's great with kids.
Uh-oh. Freddy Krueger again, Paige?
No, I think I know. I think I know who she's taking, and this was the argument I was going to use.
No, he's great with kids. I'm pretty sure he's like an alien or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Judging on the last movies, I guess, from what I've learned from the last movies, and that's Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, big time spoiler for the most recent bit in It Chapter 2.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
It came out 2 years ago.
He's an alien?
I actually have what do you call that? A little miniature of Pennywise.
A little what are they called? Funko Pop things?
Like a little action figure kind of thing.
Big fan.
Yeah.
So you got a thing for Pennywise is what we're hearing.
I would not say that, but
Which Pennywise are you taking? Are you taking the OG Tim Curry Pennywise, or the new? Was it Bill Skarsgård who plays?
Bill Skarsgård.
One of the Skarsgårds plays Pennywise.
Yeah, he makes Pennywise hot, I guess. Bill Skarsgård.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I mean, this is very similar to the Jigsaw pick, right? It was at least it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be entertaining, and as long as you're not afraid of him or something, he can't really hurt you. Or isn't there something like that? So
I've
he
never
has
seen any
to
of the
strike
movies.
He has to make you afraid to actually do something.
I could be getting this terribly wrong, but there's definitely a way to psychologically battle him to where he is incapable of hurting you. But he is capable of having a conversation, and
he's hot apparently.
The bars moved so low.
Skarsgård is hot.
Oh, sorry.
So by proxy, I guess it kind of makes him weirdly attractive. But question yourself. I feel like Pennywise is not that scary.
Well, I'm scared of everything.
Depends
on how you feel about clowns, really. Mm-hmm. But so that is Paige's final pick. Preston, what is yours, friend?
I'm really struggling here. Listen, I'm a naturally curious person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also very notably not a member of the clergy. So I'm going to take Pazuzu, the demon from The Exorcist. I feel like canonically, having seen The Exorcist, but I've forgotten a lot of it. Canonically, the demon Pazuzu is only really angry at people in the faith, right? And listen, I'm all about believe what you want to believe, man. Like I'm much more chill about it, and I feel like Pazuzu is going to be like, yeah, you're not the guy I want today. You know what I mean? And at least then we can have a conversation, about what it's like to be Pazuzu, the demon. Not just, the killer.
I generally don't know how Pazuzu works. Does Pazuzu only possess Christians?
Well, no, it's not a possession concern, because I'm assuming the thing across the table from me is Pazuzu in the body of what's her name? Emily Rose. Yeah, the child.
Well, it's Reagan in the first one.
Reagan. It's Pazuzu in the body of Reagan, which gotta be honest, not a fan. Very frightening. Big time hate.
In the movie, Pazuzu is removed from Reagan.
Yeah, but also in some of these movies, the villain dies, but we're not going with that part of
fair.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
So I'm trying to play by the rules here, and I just think Pazuzu would have, which by the way, I don't think is ever mentioned in I had to look up what the demon's name was. The Exorcist demon would have no reason to hate me, right? I don't think so. I'm not. I mean it no
hate
harm
with demons, really. I don't think it's about that.
Yeah, I don't know if it is.
They have an agenda. It's pretty clear they have an agenda. I am not in their way. I'm not out of their way. I am indifferent to their agenda. That's actually a terrible thing to say. I'm not indifferent to a demonic agenda. That is not what I meant.
To possess someone. That's their business, not mine.
That's their business, not mine. I'm not getting into what you do inside your own home.
I think you're getting a lot of support for that opinion, Preston.
It's a weird choice. I'm more taking it because I think it is the least threatening to me.
That is interesting, because
I thought about several others that I'm sure we'll get to in the later half of the show here, but yeah, that's it.
I feel like they're clearly less threatening to you, but I'm fine with the pick, I guess. I have no strong feelings about it.
That's fine for a last pick then, because that's usually where I stumble and screw up. Yeah.
I feel like you could have gone Jaws. What is Jaws going to do to you on a speed date?
I was going to do that, but
if you're going,
there's something about sharks though that are very primal, and I know people tell me all the time they don't eat people. That's not their deal. If a shark is looking right at me though, and there's nothing else going on,
how's it going to get to you?
Here's my thing. What do sharks do if not eat me? I will go play video games. I'll go for a nice walk. I like to read a good book every now and then. What do sharks do really besides eat other things? Right.
Yeah.
I have to stare at it for 10 minutes. With a shark. Yeah. I got to look at this shark for 10 minutes and expect it's not going to be like, well, I'm pretty bored, so I'm going to eat this thing.
I'm not saying you're going to have a good date with Jaws. What I'm saying is if your objective is to not be killed or whatever by your final date, I think you're less likely to be killed by a shark on land than a demon that possesses people.
And I'm saying statistically, more people die from sharks than demonic possessed children.
You don't know that, Preston. You don't know that. The government covers up all the demonic possessions, okay? We don't know the stats. Okay. So Preston goes Pazuzu with his final pick. With my final pick, I do have one final B tier pick, and it might be bad because I know very little about this movie franchise, although there is a new one that just came out this year. And that is Candyman. And Candyman is a spirit who is very sympathetic. He was I think the son of a slave or a slave who tried to escape and was captured and mutilated and tortured with bees. That's why he has all the bees. And then basically he haunts the place where he was killed as a reminder or whatever. He also has a hobby. Paige just said you have to have a hobby that you can identify with. And he is an apiarist. He raises bees. And I think that is one of the coolest hobbies you can have, especially in today when all the bees are dying. To the very least, I think the Candyman will be able to tell me how cool it is to raise bees. And I think with the 6th pick of a draft where we're all drafting psychopathic murderers, that feels pretty good to me.
Beekeeping is pretty good.
Beekeeping's pretty cool. And he could always give you like some honey and
Exactly.
I'm gonna give you some honey, Daniel.
Okay. You made it weird.
I'm actually impressed by that being the last pick. I don't know anything about Candyman. So
wait, I don't know anything about Candyman.
Dumb question. Is Candyman I get the sense Candyman is like a thing that exists outside of the movies. Was he like a folk villain? And then they turned it into a movie?
That I'm not, I think so, but I'm not positive. He is portrayed that way in the movie. Like he is portrayed as a folklore tale. That is actually being researched by a professor. But I don't know if the Candyman lore happened as a result of the movie or was already before. That I am not positive on.
Makes sense. Okay. Good pick though.
Thank you. And that is the final pick of the draft. So here are the teams. I end up with Hannibal Lecter, the Bride of Frankenstein, David Kessler from An American Werewolf in London, Ghostface, Pinhead, and Candyman. Preston ends up with Frankenstein's monster, Cujo, of course, Jigsaw, Carrie, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the demon Pazuzu. And then Paige ends up with Dracula, Seth Brundle from Fly, Freddy Krueger, the Invisible Man, Sadako? Is that what we said the name was? Sadako, the evil demon girl from The Ring.
She's not evil. She's not evil. She's misunderstood.
Okay. And then Pennywise / It from It. So those are the teams. We'll be right back to break them all down in just a second. Okay, welcome back. Same questions as always. First, Preston and Paige. Preston, we'll ask you first. Mm-hmm. Who did you want to pick, or who were maybe you planning to pick but had to alter strategies for whatever reason? Who was on your board still available at the end of the draft that you couldn't quite find room for?
I know I argued with you about Jaws, but I always feel like if it's an animal, I can like work my way around it. But if I was really sticking on theme here, and my theme, except for The Exorcist, were misunderstood villains.
Is Jigsaw misunderstood?
Yes.
Is it
really?
Really though?
Give me a second here and I'll figure out why. He really just wants people to, like Paige said, value what they are blessed with. By taking it away from them.
Right.
He wants you to value your left hand by making you cut it off.
Okay, sure.
I definitely have more respect for where my left hand once was. Okay, but if I was sticking on theme with the truly misunderstood villains, then I would have gone Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th, because he was a kid that was just bullied. Like he was bullied, he was beat up, and then he was killed, and now he haunts people. Kind of similar to Paige's pick from The Grudge. Is that the name of the movie?
Ring.
I just like
The Ring.
Yeah. The Why Ring. Did I say The Grudge?
The Grudge is a little bit different.
That's a different thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like it's in a similar vein, but I still think I made the right choices down the stretch there.
I will say I did have an F tier of people that I thought were totally undraftable, and Jason Voorhees.
All these people are in the F tier.
Well,
really?
No, yes, because he's mute. He does not speak. I think he would be just about the worst speed date you could have.
Neither does Gilman, I don't think.
Yeah,
but from the Black Lagoon.
He communicates with his eyes. You know what I mean? There's communication happening with Gilman. There's none with Jason Voorhees.
You give him one look into those big eyes, and you tell me you're not feeling something.
You just fall in love.
Exactly. Paige, what about you? Was there someone that was still left on your board that you couldn't quite squeeze into your team?
Well, if I had to choose, I kind of like the Babadook. Not mainly because it's kind of become like a gay icon.
Yeah,
and also
I learned that today in my research.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why. Can you explain that? Are you able to?
I actually don't really know. I feel like I have searched it before, and I'm not sure. But there are a lot of great drag queen Babadook outfits out there.
So I do know why. I do know why.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Because I just read this and doing research for these movies that I've not seen. Apparently, there was a joking post on Tumblr about how the Babadook was gay, and then that like led to some weird thing on Netflix where it got labeled as an LGBTQ movie.
Yeah,
even though it was clearly not.
It was under the LGBTQ
So it became like an ironic symbol that the
That's
LGBTQ plus community
awesome.
fully embraced. Yeah.
That is so funny. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And the Babadook is supposed to be funny, right? It's kind of like a comedic slant on a horror movie. Not really.
I wouldn't say it's funny, but like it's definitely not that scary, I think, in my personal
Maybe
opinion.
you just don't get it, Paige.
Maybe.
It's a highbrow humor.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's funny, but you don't laugh at it. Kind of funny.
Yeah, it's not like haha funny,
Yeah, it's just like it's not really that scary.
I love when our guests come on and Preston's like, yeah, you weren't smart enough to get that movie.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I think I can't speak for Paige, but I knew you were joking anyway.
Okay.
And now Paige will never come back again.
Yes,
for me, I had some funny ones that I'm glad I didn't have to pick. I had Michael Myers because there's this horror video game called Dead by Daylight, which a lot of people that I follow on Twitch play, and it's actually a pretty cool game. I don't like horror at all, but it's not that scary, and it's an imbalanced game where you're either one of a group of four survivors or one asymmetrical. Yes, thank you. That's the one. And there is like all these weird cult things that go on with this game, and one of them is called Daddy Myers. There's this skin basically where he doesn't have a shirt and he's like ripped as fuck and buff.
He's ripped.
He's hyper sexualized. So I thought that was like my reasoning for taking Michael Myers. Yeah, Daddy Myers. And then there was also this character called Syl from The Species, who is an alien but disguised herself as a very conventionally attractive white woman, essentially. But apparently she if she has sex with you, she kills you. So I feel like there's a real danger in a speed dating where you actually want to sleep with her and then you're dead. So that's ultimately why I didn't pick her, even though she would be like one of the most attractive characters you could take. So those are the picks we could not make or did not make at the end of the day. What was the worst pick who someone did take in this draft?
Ooh.
All right. Well,
Look at them.
It sometimes feels like I really hammer on our guests when we have them on. I don't mean to do that.
Oh boy, here we go.
But it's not that The Fly is a terrible pick.
I like The Fly pick.
It's that it happened.
He's fantastic.
It's that it happened so early.
It did feel a little early.
You took The Fly next to A Dog and The Bride of Frankenstein. Which both feel like much more conventional things.
I don't know that you could make an argument for a rabid dog, if I'm being honest. Preston.
Yeah. First of all, you chose the dog, a rabid dog. Nothing against.
That's true.
Dogs.
That's a great point by Paige. I like that. Your rationale is like, well, my pick, which I liked, was this pick, and therefore that makes your pick bad.
But he's a romantic guy, the Fly, before he turns into a fly, and he's romantic. He's an attractive Jeff Goldblum, and did I mention he's played by Jeff Goldblum? And
Jeff Goldblum carrying a lot of weight here.
Yeah, he really is. But he was like a romantic guy, and then he screwed up his experiment, and
we've all been there.
And he wanted her to still love him, but she couldn't love him because he was very unconventionally unattractive as a fly.
Conventionally unattractive is such a nice way to say that.
He also had some demons. Let's not gloss over those.
Well, not compared to the demons on my team.
But true. Compared to the other people on the list, he was pretty.
Yeah, they were like real human flaws, essentially.
Yeah, and he was smart. He turned himself into a fly by accident, kind of. But he was working on some other things, and I think he would have been great.
Yeah.
Can I ask very quickly, just quick tangent? Out of the list that we were choosing from, the absolute worst possible pick to give people an insight into the list that we were working with here. I have one that I think everybody could agree with.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
That would be the Blob.
I was looking at the Blob too.
The Blob would be rough.
There is nothing redeemable about this Blob.
No, there's not.
The Blob.
He is horrifying.
Mm-hmm. And can't talk or do anything other than like horrifically dissolve you, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not the makings of a good relationship.
No.
So, anyways, I just wanted to make sure that was settled.
Yeah, to answer your question more fully, so the Blob is my F tier, along with Jason Voorhees. I also had Annie Wilkes as an F tier, because I think there's a real danger. She just becomes real attached to you and then makes your life an absolute miserable existence before.
And she's from Misery.
She's from Misery, yeah.
Misery,
He didn't even do that on purpose, the whole miserable thing. I'm so sorry. And then Norman Bates from Psycho was the other one. Because again, he is just a straight up psychopath. He's very cold and unfeeling and unemotional. And I think there's 0% chance any single person would be able to manufacture an ounce of chemistry with that man for even within just 10 minutes. Yeah. It would be a miserable experience to interact with him for.
Would you rather have Norman Bates or the Blob?
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates, because he at least is like a nice looking guy.
He's at least human. He's nice looking.
The final moments of your life may be slightly more relieving.
Yeah.
But
what about you, Paige? What was the worst pick of the draft? You just had to defend yourself against Preston. It's time to mount a counteroffensive.
Oh, the worst pick of the draft. Right. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Jigsaw one, actually, not because of the actual Jigsaw guy, but because you wanted to go with the puppet.
Again, not the guy.
Puppet. I think it's her.
I think the puppet makes it more fun.
I don't feel very seen right now, and that's rough. That's rough for me. But no, listen, it's games. It's games. You need good icebreakers in these really tough dating situations, and
that's true.
His games
could you
are just
imagine a puppet just like, "Hello, do you want to play a game?" And his little puppet mouth moving, and you're just sitting across from him, like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jigsaw and Pazuzu are the least fitting in members of my team, I would say.
Yeah, that's
for
true.
sure.
That's true.
They're less redeemable than the rest of the members of my team. So that's tough, but I still think he's going to have a fun game for me. It's going to hurt, but you know.
Maybe he'll be on his best behavior in a speed dating.
Yeah,
maybe just a finger or something.
Yeah. Now, so this is tough. I really did not like the Cujo pick. I have to be honest. I like where the thought was. To me, I feel like that was one you could have gotten a lot later.
It's not fair. You just hate dogs. So
I don't hate dogs. I don't love dogs like a lot of people do. But he's a rabid dog. Like I know you did the whole spiel about, listen, I'm able to reach and connect to this dog. No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Do not doubt me. I can do this.
He's just a massive dog that's just going to try to eat your face from the second you sit down. I also, the Invisible Man pick, and I feel like Paige just didn't sell it to me very well, but like that one just, I think of all the picks had some of the least redeeming qualities of any of the picks.
Out of Pazuzu, even you think?
I think Pazuzu would be a wild time if not.
Pazuzu's got dimension, for sure.
That's true.
And the Invisible Man definitely doesn't.
He does not. Yeah, I mean, I didn't love the Pazuzu pick either, but it was at least fun. I think the Invisible Man is just like, he just is just straight up a villain. I don't really see how he could be a redeemable
charismatic.
Yeah.
Wait, have you seen the newest one, or did you watch the old one?
I am basing this on the character that was on the list, which was because I don't think the newest one is like based all that much on the original.
Oh, is it not?
I don't think it is much, but I could be wrong about that. Those are the ones that I kind of raised my eyebrow. I mean, listen, all of these picks were tough sells, so I want to cut all of us some slack here. This is a tough draft. You know, I would be curious how different do we think it would have been if we were picking? Would it have been better to do the worst, or was it better the way we did it? Trying to finagle the best lineup out of it.
I think it's better to see what's good in people, and I think if someone in some of these villains' lives had seen the good in them instead of the bad, maybe they wouldn't have made it on this list, Dan.
True.
That's so deep, and I love it. I will say what I like, because last year for our Halloween episode, we did worst candy. So it's like the trick with the treat, with the little twist. And I think we kind of did it the other way this time. We got the little treat.
The treat with
a
the
nice
trick.
Date with the trick, the horrible murderous villains. So,
I like where your head's at. Yep, that only works twice though, so I don't know what we're doing next year.
Hey, we got a whole year to figure it out. We got a year to figure
cool.
it out.
Yeah, that's a future problem. I'm not worried about it.
Exactly. Okay, now this is what it's all about. The final question of the show. Paige, we'll start with you this time. Who had the best draft? Which lineup of 6 horror movie villains would you most want to sit down and speed date?
Honestly, I would choose my own.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, since
right.
I can't.
Okay, Paige.
I'm gonna choose Daniel's.
Oh, come on.
Because of one, Hannibal Lecter is on there, and I feel like he would be a fantastic conversationalist. And Pinhead, maybe you could try out the BDSM stuff. I'd be like, all right, why not?
I will say I forgot to mention this for Pinhead. He's a multi-dimensional traveler, so he's got to have some cool stories.
Yeah, and he must have very cool stories. Exactly.
Yeah. Probably a pretty sweet Instagram as well.
Probably
from his travels.
And just like look at his face, very.
What are you talking about?
People who travel, they have cool Instagrams. Like, hey, this is when I went to Thailand. This is when I went to the 5th dimension, the 3rd circle of hell.
This is when I tortured this guy in the 3rd circle of hell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bride of Frankenstein, not too bad either. Not too bad either.
Well, thanks, Paige. That means a lot.
Yeah.
What about you, Preston? Whose lineup are you most eager to date?
It's mine. You people are insane. I mean, for Dan, Hannibal Lecter is holding your team up big time.
That is true.
I think my team is honestly great.
Huge pick.
Yeah.
You do have some nice, like, what I would say, there's not a lot of like cons. There's not a ton of pros though there either. Like Ghostface again, just like a run-of-the-mill murderer.
Which team is filled with pros here, Preston?
Mine are all people that you can save. Mine are all people that you can rescue. Yeah, and like I said, I'm going to do A Shape of Water with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Okay.
I do love that for you. Yes. I honestly think I smoked you guys. I haven't been this confident in a draft in a long time. I got a lot of the people that I had very high on my list. I feel great about it. I hope that the voters will agree with me. I think if I can't pick mine, I'm taking Paige's. If for no other reason, I think Preston's, you're not getting through, especially if you go in the speed dating order that they're picked. So if Cujo is the 2nd speed date, Preston is not getting to his 3rd speed date.
I'm gonna be fine, Daniel.
Yeah.
You don't understand.
I'm starting strong with the Dracula.
Dracula's a great pick. Dracula is my clear number 2 pick behind Hannibal. So yeah, I like that, and I agree. I think Paige did she maybe lost it after the Seth Brundle pick, but I just think Preston's pick is murdering you. Second pick is murdering you, and there's nothing else that is happening in that date other than the dog is mauling you to death. You're not getting anything else out of it. I'm sorry, but I can't see any upside there whatsoever. And I do feel bad because there are some dogs that I like, and I think Cujo really caught a bad rap. I mean, it was really unfortunate. He was a sweetheart before that.
I do feel bad for Cujo.
I do too. I'm not trying to knock Cujo here. I just think it's just a mistake. Maybe to take him that high, I think you can maybe sell the upside a little higher later in the day, but that's just how I feel. But of course, it always comes down to the Twitter vote. So be sure to go over to, @DraftedPod on Twitter, twitter.com/DraftedPod. Also, get in the conversation in Discord. Let us know why the picks are bad, why the picks are good. What should we draft next for our Thanksgiving episode? Join us. All that happens in Discord. It's always a fun time. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're everywhere. You guys know where we are by this point. But Paige, thank you so much for coming on. This is your first time on the show. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for holding it down as our spooky expert.
Thanks for having me. I wouldn't say spooky expert, but
come on, Paige. I'm trying to sell it to the people.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yes, I know everything horror and all of these movies I have seen 100%.
Well, and the cool thing about Paige is in movies and she streams as a content creator. So Paige, where can we find you? Plug yourself here. Give us the Twitch, the Instagram, all that.
You can find me at Instagram, Paige Sixx, PAIGE_SIXX, or on Twitch, again, Paige Sixx, but spelled the same except 6IXX at the end of that.
And I'll post the links to those in the Discord. Another reason to join the Discord. Because Paige, I have to say, found her on Twitch. She's a tremendous creator and great streamer. Highly recommend. So do check her out. Getting great guests really makes the show better. So be sure to support the guests when they come on. Preston, do you have any final words?
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
We will see everybody for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving episode. Yeah.
Yes. So happy holidays to all, and please don't scare me because I don't do well with it.
You guys know what to do now. Yeah, we'll talk to y'all in a month. Thanks for listening. Happy Halloween.